This is Picks on Politics with Dan Manarino.
And welcome to Picks on Politics, everybody. I am Dan Manarino, and yet another non-stop week of political headlines impacting our area. I mean, there was a lot. So let's break it down. And that beginning with the proposed sanctions on Mayor Eric Adams. But first, a quick recap of how we got to this very point and this show. This week began with the resignations of 4 top deputy mayors. Remember that in the Adams administration? Though they will stay on the job through March, it is clear there is turmoil behind the scenes at City Hall. Then Governor Kathy Hochul met with prominent local leaders in New York City as she faced growing pressure to remove the mayor from office, something in recent months that she has clearly stated she does not want to do. She said it on this show, but the calls for action grew when the Department of Justice got involved with the corruption case against the mayor. The next day, a judge considering the Department of Justice's request to drop the charges against Adams questioned the mayor about quid pro quo allegations and ultimately decided to take time to make any official ruling. 24 hours later, Governor Hochul making an unprecedented announcement proposing oversight to the office of the mayor pending city council and state legislator approval. Listen.
I'm not ramming this down anyone's throat. I'm saying I believe this is a place we can go to reassure New Yorkers that the fears that I've heard from many of them will be unfounded because we have some systems in place.
Now, the mayor did respond, saying there is no legal basis for limiting the mayor's power, adding that he told the governor, as they have done in the past, he is willing to work with her to ensure faith in our government and that it remains strong. And that's what happened in just 1 week alone. So what does it mean for you, for the New Yorkers, right? Well, Queens Borough President Donovan Richards was part of the meetings with the governor this week. He's now going on the record. And Borough President, what a week it's been.
It's felt like a year.
Felt like a year, exactly. So let me begin with the guardrail or the sanctions, whatever you want to call them, that the governor has placed on the mayor, right? So I just want to break it down. Establishing this new Deputy Inspector General, giving other top leaders the ability to sue the federal government, right? Expanding the state comptroller's oversight. Reactions have been swift for and against these. Let me begin with what you thought.
Well, trust is shaken right now. And when you look at some of the safeguards the governor has put in place, they really are revolving around immigration. And I think all of us saw that Fox and Friends interview where we were really concerned about Baltazar Holmes saying that he's going to be up the mayor's butt if he doesn't follow through on his promises. And big question mark obviously arrived after that. So these safeguards, I think, are smart. You think of the comptroller, the public advocate, having a little bit more power and teeth to sue the federal government in the event of them challenging some of our sanctuary status laws. And it's critical to have that, especially in a city like New York.
I spoke to many sources and lawmakers in Albany and the city council, right, who said that they were actually caught off guard. They were caught off guard by this move, and they still, at this point, have not received something to vote on. So take us through the process. You used to be in the city council on if the timeline is even worth it, because by the time it's drafted, goes to them, potentially a vote, we could be well into a primary.
Right, and I think that was the point the governor made as well, which was a sound point. Even if she decided to remove him, it's possible that you could have 3 mayors within a short period of time over the year. So even if she did remove him, there's still a process, and he would be able to appeal that process, and you're basically dragging this out into the primary. As a former city council member, I know that if this is important to the speaker, it can move rapidly, and we'll just have to see what she says about this.
So you think a timeline could be what?
I mean, listen, it depends on how fast the council wants to move. I don't want to speak for their body, but we have a bill drafting unit there. And it would be contingent upon the Democratic caucus to come together and have Democratic conversations around it, and then for the speaker to put it on the floor for a vote.
You met with Governor Hochul this week. You also are part, for those who don't know, of this inability committee, which you said did not apply to the situation with the mayor. Take us inside the meeting with Governor Hochul. I spoke to you after it, but that was before these sanctions. Did that come up as part of the conversation?
Well, I voiced my concerns, and the governor voiced her concerns about the direction of where this city is headed. And to see 4 deputy mayors who I hold in high regards, many of them I worked with for close to a decade. We've done everything from rezoning to working on large-scale initiatives across Queens County. And one of the challenges we now have is we have a void that needs to be filled. I expressed my concerns about the direction City Hall is going in. On the brighter side, though, there still are a lot of commissioners in place. 400,000 workers are still showing up in New York City on a daily basis to drive the city. But certainly what we're seeing there is troubling, and we needed to see some action.
So you did not recommend removal?
No, I wouldn't. Well, one, as a member of the Inability Committee, I keep that option open, even though I do believe that there are challenges that could be apprised legally on the Inability Committee, because really it's about the mayor being incapacitated. But legal experts, there may be some wiggle room there, so I want to reserve comment until we know further more about that.
Okay, so a few sources that I spoke to are actually questioning the motives behind the sanctions, right? Saying that this doesn't actually apply to the relationship that the governor will have with the mayor, but more so a potential relationship that she may have with somebody like an Andrew Cuomo if he jumps in the race and if he were to win. I'm sure you've heard these rumors that are out there in some of these reportings. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't really buy into this as her putting safeguards in place for Andrew Cuomo, because at the end of the day, the city council and the state legislature are the ones who are going to have to draft these bills, and they can definitely put a sunset on these particular pieces of law.
Well, she did. It was the end of 2025.
Right. I mean, but they still would. She can say it, but they would still have to write it in and vote on it. So I'm pretty confident that this would sunset January 1st, and we would move on.
You know, you mentioned the 4 top mayors who resigned, right? I guess when you look at that and you're saying that there are other commissioners, to a New Yorker who's looking at it, saying 4 top administrators have left, and that's just that week. There was also the whole host of dozens of others from September to this point on, right? So how do you still have the confidence that Mayor Adams can do the job? Because you didn't call him to resign. You didn't want him to be removed. So how do you remain confident that he can do his job? Well,
listen, the mayor is the figurehead. You still have 10 to 50. You still have the police commissioner, the sanitation commissioner. You know, next week we'll be kicking off something called Queensboro Hall on your block. We'll have every agency a part of our town hall meetings, and they're still coming to the phone. So yes, trust is certainly shaken with him, but I have the utmost confidence in Police Commissioner Tisch. I have the utmost confidence in Edonis Rodriguez to continue to answer the phone.
You also have a good relationship with Adrienne Adams, City Council Speaker. There are a lot of rumors out there and reports. I've spoken to some people who want her to run for mayor. If she did, would you support her? Have you spoken to her about that?
Well, I have the utmost respect and regards for Speaker Adams. It's no secret that we are next-door neighbors. I've worked with her for nearly 2 decades, starting from my time in the City Council when she was the Community Board Chair, Community Board 12. So I have the utmost respect. I have not received a call from her yet to know if this is real. So until I hear from her, it's all rumors. But let me say she's led the city with dignity and respect and integrity, and she's someone I hold in high regards.
All right. Queensboro President Donovan Richards, appreciate you being here on Pick Some Politics. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Dan.